James Madison, the architect of the Republic.
But before we start to get into the video, please support us by like, share, and subscribe to this channel so that we can provide new insights and knowledge about world history. Thank you.
In the grand narrative of American history, few figures have exerted as profound an influence on the structure and philosophy of the nation's government as James Madison. Often hailed as the father of the Constitution, Madison played a pivotal role in shaping the political landscape of the United States, particularly through his contributions during the Philadelphia Convention of 1787. It was here that the foundation for the American presidency was laid, transforming abstract ideas about leadership and governance into a functioning executive branch. Madison's vision and meticulous efforts not only influenced the creation of the office of the president, but also established the philosophical underpinnings of the American political system. The Philadelphia Convention, a crucible of ideas. May 1787, delegates from 13 states convened in Philadelphia with the intention of revising the Articles of Confederation. However, what transpired over the ensuing months was far more ambitious. Recognizing the deficiencies of the Articles in addressing the needs of a growing and increasingly complex nation, the delegates, led in intellectual force by Madison, opted to draft an entirely new framework of government. Madison arrived at the convention armed with what would become the Virginia Plan, an ambitious proposal that laid the groundwork for the structure of the federal government. Madison's Virginia Plan advocated for a strong central government with three distinct branches: legislative, executive, and judicial. Central to this plan was the establishment of a singular executive, a president, who would ensure that laws passed by the legislature were faithfully executed. This idea marked a radical departure from the decentralized and weak executive model of the Articles of Confederation. For Madison, the creation of a powerful yet balanced executive was essential to the longevity and stability of the Republic. Madison's vision of executive power, at a time when many Americans harbored deep suspicions of centralized power, stemming from their recent struggle against British monarchy, Madison had the difficult task of advocating for an executive that was strong but not tyrannical. His challenge was to design a presidency that would be energetic and effective in governance, while simultaneously being constrained by checks and balances. Madison argued that an executive must possess the vigor necessary to respond decisively to crises, enforce the law, and represent the nation in foreign affairs. At the same time, he feared the potential for abuse inherent in unchecked executive authority. Thus, he envisioned a system where the president would be held accountable through separation of powers, regular elections, and a system of checks and balances involving the legislative and judicial branches. It was Madison who helped guide debates on how to elect the president, ultimately contributing to the creation of the Electoral College. He also supported fixed terms for the presidency, initially proposing a 7-year term with no re-election, though he later accepted the 4-year renewable term. These ideas ensured a balance between continuity in leadership and democratic accountability. Federalist number 51 and the doctrine of checks and balances. Madison's thoughts on governance were further crystallized in the Federalist Papers, a series of essays written to promote the ratification of the new Constitution. Federalist number 51, perhaps his most famous contribution, articulates the principle that ambition must be made to counteract ambition. This notion underpins the system of checks and balances that defines the American government. According to Madison, the best way to prevent tyranny was not merely through good intentions, but through institutional design. Each branch of government, including the executive, must have the means and motivation to resist encroachments by the others. This framework ensured that the presidency, while vested with significant authority, could not dominate the political system. Madison's belief in the necessity of structural safeguards was not merely theoretical. He feared that without a strong yet constrained presidency, the Republic could devolve into either anarchy or autocracy. His contributions at the Philadelphia Convention thus represent a careful balancing act between power and liberty, energy and restraint. crafting a lasting legacy. While Madison did not speak as frequently during the convention as some of his peers, his influence was nonetheless pervasive. He was instrumental in drafting many of the key provisions related to the executive branch, and was the most meticulous recorder of the debates and compromises that took place. His notes from the Philadelphia Convention remain among the most important historical documents from that period, offering invaluable insights into the birth of the presidency. Following the convention, Madison played a central role in securing the ratification of the Constitution. His collaboration with Alexander Hamilton and John Jay in writing the Federalist Papers was crucial in persuading skeptical states to embrace the new framework of government. Without Madison's persuasive advocacy and intellectual leadership, it is unlikely that the presidency, or the Constitution itself, would have taken the form we recognize today. Madison as president, ironically, Madison would later occupy the very office he helped design. As the fourth president of the United States, serving from 1809 to 1817, Madison faced the ultimate test of his theories and practice. His presidency was marked by the War of 1812, a conflict that tested the strength of the federal government and the resolve of its executive leader. Though his tenure was not without controversy, Madison's performance as president reflected many of the principles he had espoused decades earlier. He respected the bounds of constitutional authority, worked in concert with Congress, and upheld the notion of a balanced government. His actions as president provided a living example of how the office could function within the limits of a constitutional republic. The enduring relevance of Madison's contributions today, James Madison's influence continues to be felt in every aspect of American political life. The office of the presidency, as envisioned and shaped by Madison, remains a central pillar of the nation's government. His insistence on checks and balances, separation of powers, and accountable leadership has withstood the test of time, guiding the United States through centuries of political change. In an era where the powers and limits of the presidency are frequently debated, Madison's work offers a valuable reminder of the principles upon which the office was founded. His contributions at the Philadelphia Convention in 1787 were not merely acts of political engineering. They were expressions of a profound philosophical commitment to Republican governance. James Madison did not simply help create a presidency. He helped define the nature of American democracy. For this reason, he remains rightly remembered as the architect of the Republic, a visionary who, through intellect and dedication, helped shape a nation's destiny.
Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe if you like videos like this. Thank you.